an obvious obstacle that we're all facing in our individual lives, and I'm sure your organization is facing as well, is the current COVID crisis. So how is the current crisis around COVID affecting your work? Del.
COVID has completely transformed the mission and the duties of co-tennoring, where we have always been very deeply involved in workforce development, getting our people from one position to another, getting them involved in the trades and then the tech community. We have gone now to almost 80% COVID instructions, resources, and protection. We now have almost 35 ambassadors on the streets every day, teaching people how to use masks, teaching people what shelter in place means in a crazy tent encampment community where shelter in place and social distance is impossible. But we're working to make that impossible possible. You know, the unfortunate part of this pandemic, or just a situation it hit, and it closes all of our places where people can go in and sit down and use a computer, close out our libraries, our tech centers, where people would have had that chance. That's what we've been working on all spring, is to get it set up so we'll be able to do it right now. And now that's all blown. So now we're going to a completely different strategy, which we don't even know what that strategy is yet.
Our whole program for the census centered on bringing the census to the people, making sure that the questionnaire was accessible, especially because this is the first time that it's primarily digital. So the federal government expected most folks to be able to go online and do the census, and we know that that's just not the case here in San Francisco. It's really hindered our ability to kind of do some of the face-to-face in-person outreach that we were hoping to do. But also COVID-19 has highlighted the importance of the census, because it's more important than ever that we get the resources that we need. You know, we're about to go into this major economic crisis. We're seeing more people than ever rely on public benefits. We get funding for some of those public benefits based on our census population data. We're trying to do everything that we can to make sure people get counted in the absence of doing some of that in-person work that we had hoped to.
So my purview is specifically the arts, which is visual and performing. Visual artists, more or less, that work in the mural medium, they can kind of function as they were because they could do self-distancing naturally and masks because they're outdoors. It's the performing artists that concern me the most. One, they get their livelihood from obviously engaging large crowds. And a lot of times artists struggle. They live from gig to gig. And we're looking at an abrupt end to revenue for the foreseen future. We don't want to create a space where artists have to go underground and create these speakeasies where large gatherings happen off the grid, which obviously can jeopardize the progress around COVID-19. So what Imprint City is doing is transferring our festivals and online and music events to an online platform. Imprint City and I also ask other arts organizations to use as much of their resources as possible to keep the artists they had lined up for gigs working. We don't want to create an underground movement where artists are doing underground events because they're trying to survive.